This is Maurice Aguilar, reporter for Velvet Addiction's Audio Fix and Video Fix, and this is by Cybershot Sony. I'm here with Donnell Rawlings, and we're going to talk about his career, his life. This man, introduce yourself to the people.
Well, if you don't know, my name is Donnell Rawlings, formerly known as Ashy Larry. You know, former Chappelle Show fame. Mr. Chappelle went to Africa, so now I've changed my whole style. I'm going from Ashy to classy. I just renamed myself Ashford Lawrence. You know, I'm into wine. I'm studying to be a sommelier. You know what I'm saying? I'm going from whiskey to Pinots and Shabazes and Shirazes. And I'm learning how to talk like this because when you're behind the velvet rope, you have to talk like this. Your chin has to keep going down. And you have to order stuff like foucault and Brussels sprouts and stuff with creamy sauces and stuff like that. And it has to be in a vinaigrette sauce. You can even have a bologna and cheese sandwich with a light vinaigrette sauce. And you have to caramelize stuff. You don't fry your onions, you saute them and you caramelize them.
But before we started with the world of sauteing onions and caramelization, let's talk about how you got started in this business. How did you evolve into who you were to the transition?
Well, at first I had aspirations to be a male dancer, but this was before Viagra came out. So I didn't really see the need of trying to keep it up all the time. And no, all jokes aside. How can a comedian say all jokes aside? I never wanted to do this comedy shit. I went to a comedy club once, and I was a heckler for 1 week. I was a heckler for 2 weeks, heckler for 3 weeks. I started becoming popular for being a heckler, and the club owner wanted me to shut my big mouth, so he challenged me. Hey, how you doing? All right. So I like her.
Don't you love the fans? Okay. They just send you kisses out in the hotels. Look at that great?
Could have had a better back shot. But I was a heckler. Club owner wanted me to shut up. He challenged me to go up there. I went on stage. I ripped it, and it's been comedy for like the last 13 years of my life.
How did coming from from Dave Chappelle, was that a transition of like going from stand-up comedy, known comedy, not to be worldwide known? What did you learn from that show that made you into a greater comedian today?
I don't really think that show helped me be a greater comedian. I think it just gave me a platform for people to see what I've been doing for years. You know what I mean? I don't want to call myself a great comic. I'll say I'm a good comic. But, you know, prior to the Chappelle show, I had a lot of stuff under my belt. But my audience was mixed up. You know, I had black people that saw me this show, white people that saw me this show. But this was the first show that everybody watched at the same time. So I think it was more of a showcase than a complete launching pad. You know what I mean? Not to take away from anything that show did for me because it gave me great exposure. But I think my career was going to go on that path anyway. But there's certain things that come in your life to help expedite you getting to that fame that you look for or that you just get.
Now let's move on from the Chappelle show. And you're actually around Hot 97 a couple years ago. Tell us that experience that caused a transition for you to get into radio.
First off, I don't know the station that you just talked about.
They're dead.
Yeah, but I did have a stint on another radio station maybe 2 years ago, and it was the first time I was introduced. That was the first time that I was introduced to radio. I had a good time, but for some reason, me and the person that worked there didn't really get along, so it wasn't a healthy, creative environment for me. So I scrapped radio. I only did it just for fun. You know, and then another opportunity came, like when Star Buck Wow was dismissed from Power 105, and I just wanted to go there and be a guest. And it turned out that the listeners responded to me, the program director responded to me, Egypt and Tigger responded to me, and now it's turned into like a show with a deal, with a contract.
Now, how is it to get up in the mornings now?
I don't really get up, I just don't go to sleep. You know what I mean? But it's easy. Like, you know, like 3 years ago, I was really going hard with the party, and it's like I was so excited that I could go places. When I first moved to New York, I couldn't get anywhere, you know, and I didn't understand that concept because growing up in D.C., you can get anywhere if you have money, you can afford to get in there. But when I came to New York, it wasn't about the money, it was who you were. You know, me and my friends would go to places and we're like, we want to go in, and they would look like you can't come in here, you know. So once I got that popular after Chappelle show, I would just test the ropes. I would just walk past the club and they just started popping automatically. So once I got that to the point where I can get into like the best clubs or whatever, I just went crazy with it. You know, that was like 2 years ago. And now I'm like, you know, more settled into what I want to do. I really like doing the radio, so I don't really party as much as I used to. You might catch me on a Thursday going out and go to the station kind of tipsy. But other than that, you know, I just go to bed early right now.
So what is the future aspirations from radio? You have transition, comedy, TV, going into radio. What do we see forward to you in the future? What plans do you have?
Well, I really like radio because people get to see who you are every day. You know, it's more of a personal connection. Like, even if you have like a sitcom on television, people see you and they see you once. You know what I mean? Like once a week. The thing about radio is like every morning they expect you to be there. So it's almost like you live with them, they live with you. And there was a time when radio was like, oh, you couldn't make it at this, so you do radio, because the salaries weren't competitive to what people were making on television. But being in the New York market, with the possibility of being syndicated or whatever, you can make just as much money on radio as you could do with TV. And I'm like, what I'm trying to do with radio is like, radio's somewhat dead, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to bring radio back where people actually wanted to watch the radio. You know, like sat around wondering what was going to be the next thing out of this person's mouth. And radio challenges me to take some of the things that I've learned from Chappelle's show, some of like acting things I do with acting. I got to turn the visual on. So now it's like every word has to count now. You know, when you're doing television and film, your body language or certain things you do with your body could distract what you're really saying. But with this, it's all about everybody hangs on every word that you say.
Now, as a child, were you a funny kid to your parents? Did you get in trouble a lot?
Yeah, I got in trouble, and one of the ways I got out of trouble was my sense of humor. You know, I was a little stick dude with a big head, and people wanted to fight me all the time. I wasn't trying to fight all the time, so my comedy would get me out of there. Sometimes my mother wanted to give me some like corporal punishment or whatever you call it. Black people, when I was going to get beat, I used to joke my way out of that. When I was in the military, I used to joke my way out of disciplinary actions and stuff like that. So
you were in the military?
Yeah, I was in the Air Force for 40 years.
What did you do there?
Nobody ever believed this. I was a military police officer. In the Air Force, we call it security police. But I was in the military to protect, serve, and honor.
What crazy shit happened in the military there?
I never really got into the military. I know I was a cop. I made one arrest out of a 4-year enlistment. And the only people I would pull over were girls with big breasts.
Good times.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, you can go. Ma'am, I need you to step on the side of the vehicle. That's what I did when chicks had a nice butt.
Did you travel a lot?
Not a lot, but for a 17-year-old kid just going to the military, I mean, first experience with traveling, it could be considered a lot. I was at Kusan, Korea. I did what they call Team Spirit in the Philippines. And my last duty assignment, I was at Bowling Air Force Base in D.C. So, you know, from 17 to like 21, that was a lot of traveling.
So that gave you a nice vast of understanding of different cultures and people.
It made me culturally diverse. It made me appreciate white people and understanding.
And understanding is everything in this world, right?
Understanding is everything, and white people are everything too, in certain cases, because their check's clear. White people's check's clear too, but on average, I would have to say Caucasians' check clear a lot faster.
What do you find as a positive message you want to bring out through the comedy that you provide?
Well, I don't really do positive messages. I'm a negative role model, you know, and if it's kids out there thinking about studying, forget about the books. Get a basketball. Get a basketball and a football, all right? And I'm not going to say no to anything because I say yes to too much. What I will say is that understand there's consequences for your actions. And don't do ecstasy because you'll wind up grabbing your own ass for like an hour.
You gotta love this day. But you know, highest notes. Are you supportive of any charities, any kind of like organizations?
I am. I'm a board member for the United Negro Lotion Fund because I really believe that ash is a terrible thing to waste. And in Africa, lotion being moisturized is a form of wealth. So if you see a greasy African, you probably say, "Look at this greasy motherfucker. That guy's a millionaire because he's moisturized."
All right.